I'm trying to find out. Oh my gosh. Hopefully I don't have any problems because I was tweaking the computer. I was doing all kinds of stuff. Oh. What is going on? There was a police chase. People were saying they thought this guy was dead. Make sure the audio, because I installed a bunch of new stuff. Okay, we're good with the audio. Let me try to find out the details. Completely sidewinded. ABC was there and they left. Let's listen to what they had to say
today or at another point in time associated with a different crime, I cannot tell you, but this person was believed to be armed and dangerous, willing to fire at law enforcement, and that explains the large police presence here, and also explains why they did not box him in or use anything too aggressive at that standoff at Bellegrave and at Etiwanda. Now, why they decided to deploy the grappler is really a whole other question, and it ultimately will come down to what the policies are with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. And in full transparency, I do not know what the grappling policies are with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. But in the case of LA County, for example, you would never see a pit maneuver, a traditional good old-fashioned pit maneuver at speeds in excess of 35 to 40 miles per hour. This suspect was going way faster than that. And you would imagine they would never even attempt a pit maneuver in that situation, but yet they decided to use the grappler, which certainly you can imagine speed is a major factor when you're trying to grapple a vehicle traveling in excess of a safe speed. Now, what the guidelines are by the manufacturer and all of those things, again, I just don't know what the protocol is for the grappler. There are different technologies out on the market, different law enforcement agencies now slowly getting their hands on this equipment, and I cannot tell you what the threshold, what the speed threshold is for deploying that grappler, but ultimately, the hesitation of boxing him in because of the danger of the suspect at the intersection where he came to a standstill, where they could have blocked off the intersection, they could have set up spike strips around the intersection. There's a number of things they could have done there, would normally do in most pursuit terminations when the vehicle comes to a stop, just in case he keeps on going. In this case, they did none of that. But they did deploy a spike strip further down on Bellegrave. He struck the spike strip, and then within seconds, another deputy came up right up behind him with the grappler, tried to get the grappler underneath that left rear tire. Instead, it went over the tire. I don't think that was by design, and ultimately that is what amplified the situation here. The suspect quickly sped up, lost control of the vehicle, crossed over oncoming lanes of traffic, which also, by the way, guys, is another reason they would never approve a pit maneuver on a busy street like Bellegrave like this in the middle of the day, because you have too many other people at risk here. You have oncoming traffic just 2 lanes away from where this suspect was traveling. So just so many risks involved, and so this is going to be a really interesting one because we have a new technology that's being deployed here, and obviously in this situation, it just doesn't make a lot of sense from my eye, but obviously the call was made down there to deploy that grappler and try and bring that vehicle to heel, but instead you can see this is the result.
Well, Chris, we're looking at Bellegrave.
That's amazing. They got a grappler now. So you guys, I don't know, is this dude alive? Is he deceased? What's going on? Somebody tell me. Oh, yeah, there's the grappler, baby. Oh, snap, the grappler. So it didn't turn out to be so smooth? What happened with the grappler, man? I wish we could see. See the grappler.
And you mentioned it's a heavily trafficked road, so Belgrade there in Jurupa Valley is going to probably be closed in both directions. Giovanna Lara is now in Colleen. She is coming in, and Colleen is out, and we're going to continue our coverage here of this chase and now standoff. The question I have now, we mentioned that this person probably survived this accident, but I can't imagine survived without injuries. So there's going to come a moment where this person is going to be disabled to the point of needing some medical assistance, I would think. So I wonder how long they can sit in there. Have you seen any movement in there for this person lately? We saw some movement in a while.
Yeah, we haven't seen it in the last couple of minutes, but suffice it to say, it appears that the driver survived this crash and was able-bodied enough to crawl over the center console, reach across, maybe even by now, who knows, possibly even crawl into the back seat for shelter or, whatever. We just don't have good visibility, and one of the reasons is you can see those windows are pretty much limo tinted, but that Bearcat is just within range here, just a few feet away from that vehicle, able to get much better eyes than we can. And you can see officers taking position.
That's not how it's supposed to work.
Or just basically all around this vehicle, which is not going anywhere. I mean, it's obviously done. It's crashed into a position it can't get out of. Those wheels are practically coming off. So it's just a matter of detaining that suspect, and maybe they just want to wait it out, see if they can. They might even. I mean, this could last a long time, or it could go pretty quickly. They could approach the vehicle at gunpoint and pull them out, or they could deploy a drone, and this could be a SWAT standoff for hours. You just don't know which way this is going to go. Obviously, they believe he is armed and dangerous. He has reportedly fired shots at law enforcement in the past, whether that happened today or at another point in time, we don't know. But they are treating this with kid glove care to make sure they don't pose an additional danger to any of the other officers in the situation. But pretty much this entire block now has been cordoned off.
Yeah, as they should. They should be very careful. As you mentioned, that it is believed that this suspect did open fire on deputies at some point. Riverside County Sheriffs is the agency that initiated this pursuit about 2:35, and the pursuit started on the 10 freeway. From there, exiting at Pepper in the Fontana area, or that's where it initiated. From there, the CHP took over. The pursuit continued on the westbound 10 and then onto the 15 freeway, getting off on Jurupa Valley at the exit there. And now we are here on Bellegrave. As Philip mentioned, this area will be closed for some time for this developing story. And you were talking about the movement of the suspect inside the white Cadillac. I was watching that earlier, and I could see that it seemed like he was reaching into the glove compartment, perhaps for something. But as you mentioned, Chris, we haven't seen much movement since. Interesting that these officers are mobilizing in the way that they are. Initially, they seemed like they were on the defensive, but now they seem a little bit less concerned or less on alert.
Well, I mean, they clearly are strategizing at this point. They're not going to get any closer, it appears, at this point. They've got a number of tools at their disposal. I mentioned a drone. They have the option of putting a drone in front of the driver's windshield. They could also poke through that rear windshield and smoke him out with a smoke grenade or tear gas. They can gas him out of the car, or at least test his limitations to see if that provokes any kind of a response, and then they could take it from there, or at least peer through the windshield if they can at least just use a battering ram to smash one of those windows, either the side windows or that back windshield. But that's going to ultimately be, I think, what this comes down to. They need to gain good visibility inside that vehicle before they put any deputies in front of that Bearcat or anywhere closer to that vehicle. They want to get a really good idea of the condition of that driver before they get any closer.
Well, not to say that they have this at their disposal, but I've seen the robots before where they deploy it and they'll just punch out the windows just without having to even tear gas. They'll just break the windows. And I've seen that before. I don't know that they would necessarily deploy that in this circumstance, but you're right, Chris. I mean, however they can break those windows without causing harm to the suspect inside or harm to any of the deputies, that seems the best course of action now. unless he's able to make and establish communication. If they can somehow establish communication with this person, so he could either surrender or whatever. But
all right, so I'm going to show you guys here in a second to the replay of the crash. This is happening now live. By the way, this is live out in California, Jurupa Valley, California. There was a violent crash, is what they're saying. There was a police chase, a violent crash, and now a standoff barricade. Standoff barricade. And, let's see here. Oof, what a mess. What a mess. There was like, I don't know, I think it was like 2 police chases today. For a second, I was like, is this the same one or a different one? It's refusing to come out. Okay. Got SWAT. I think I saw some canines too. Canines. I was moving out of the way. Now, if you guys could hit the like button too, please. We only have 500 likes, 3,000 people. That really helps me get in the algorithm. I'd appreciate that. They're moving the truck here too. What's going on here? They're moving the truck. Or they probably repositioning. Probably what's going to happen is they're going to reposition the truck. Maybe to get close. Oh, they got another one. Look at it. Another truck right there too. Let me get the crash on the screen. This is the second. The first one ended with the driver dead. Holy crap. So there was another chase earlier. And I did hear that there was a chase. And they're telling me with the other chase, the person is dead. Now, this is the second chase. And they're surrounding this person more. They're locking in the vehicles, the Bearcats. This is the accident from earlier. It's 10 seconds long. And I guess it looks like they did a pit maneuver. But this is not how you're supposed to use the grappler. What's going on here? That's not how you use the grappler. Is it? Or he messed up and missed? Usually the grappler, okay, you got to get really close. Maybe they have different ones. You get really close. I thought it shoots something. They got the cheap one. They got the China beta version. You got to literally lock and be in sync the whole time. So it looks like it missed and the guy crashed. That did not work out how it usually works out. Holy moly. And he ended up crashing into the wall. The car became unstable after that. Crashed into the wall. So we got a standoff. This is the second chase of the day. The first chase, they're saying that somebody was killed. Somebody died. And this is the second one where they use this new technology in California, the grappler, but I've never really seen it used like this. They got the refurbished one. They got the China one. They got the beta version, recycled version. And I guess it didn't grab on and the guy lost control and crashed into the wall. And now we have this crazy standoff situation live. Damn. Let me see. I thought I saw ABC. I got to go on Rumble too. I thought I saw an ABC article. They were live talking about it. I don't know if they're still live.
Wipe out Iran's civilization.
They moved on from that, talking about Trump now. Okay. Earlier, giving details of the story.
Want to come out, and then you've got a whole other problem that you're going to have to deal with. But they're not going to. I agree with you. They're not coming in any shape, form, or fashion in front of that vehicle, the Bearcat, until they know what they're dealing with here.
Yeah. And you raise another great point, Philip, one that we really don't know over the course of this lengthy pursuit that was up and down the 10 freeway, down the 15 freeway, all the way down here to Jurupa, whether they were in contact with the suspect at all. Again, obviously very serious crimes involved here. They know what he's wanted for, but how well do they know this suspect? What kind of rap sheet? And are they talking to family? Do they have a cell phone number? Was there any attempt either by the suspect or law enforcement to negotiate during the course of this pursuit. We see it all the time. Whether that was going on in this case, it's at least a remote possibility, but one that we have no idea or visibility into. Right now, you could tell just from this stance here. In fact, go ahead and widen out a little bit more, Rob. I want to give you a better idea of just how much law enforcement has pulled up to the termination of this pursuit. You can see all of those vehicles in the immediate vicinity and a command post now being set up nearby in and around this neighborhood as they start to probably engage in some door knocks right along the side there, just in case there is any more additional use of force here. Also, they've got the fire department and ambulances standing by at a safe distance as well. So this is a dynamic situation. It is now turned into a large crime scene, but you can see about 10 units right there at the crash scene. That Bearcat unit, which was pre-positioned before this even ended, during this crash, during this pursuit, that Bearcat pulled into position within seconds of that car crashing into the wall. Well, just to give you an idea of how ready they were for the suspect.
Well, that's one of the things that struck me about the intersection. Even before this started, Chris, when we first went on the air and we thought it was a standoff in the intersection, almost all of this law enforcement presence was at that intersection. I mean, this suspect had garnered an incredible amount of attention from law enforcement before we ever got here. So that to me was a very interesting part of this chase early on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not normal. It's not typical to see that kind of law enforcement pre-position or involved in the active pursuit. You know, most pursuits within LA City have 3 to 6 officers involved on the high end. Sometimes, if it's a known felon who's believed to be armed and dangerous, you might see them with 10 or 12 once in a while. But this was a different level altogether, and to have that much law enforcement in place, but not use it to block off.
But it still does that. It overcomes.
That intersection, when he came to a standstill at Bellegrave and Etiwanda, it leads you to believe that they
to fix that another time.
Were playing this very close to the vest. They did have time at least to set up that spike strip about a half a block down Bellegrave, which he ultimately did hit, by the way. He struck that spike strip before all 4 tires hit that spike strip before that grappler came into play. So raises another question. If you had a successful spike strip, why would you immediately resort to the grappler? The whole point of the spike strip is to let the tires bleed off slowly and
hey, they just wanted to test it out, man. Boys being boys. Wanted to test it out.
Bring the pursuit to a slow, safe crawl. Eventually, the vehicle becomes immobilized and you can conduct a felony stop. Well, why you would execute that spike strip and then turn to that grappler, which is a very aggressive move, just is another big question in my mind.
Well, maybe they didn't want to take any chances, but Chris, stand by. We have Leticia Juarez on the ground now, and maybe she can answer some of the questions we have. Leticia, what can you tell us?
Well, right now I can tell you I'm standing here at the corner of Etiwanda and, Bellegrave and Jurupa Valley. I want to point to what's behind me there. You can see a live look of what we can see from the ground. This is a very volatile situation because it is a very populated area. There are neighborhoods on both sides of this roadway here in Bellegrave. You have an actual park just opposite of the crash, and as you can see, the car is into a neighborhood. Police have surrounded the vehicle. They've closed off several roads in the area where people are having to make their way around these road closures. There is a road closure there at Bellegrave and Wineville, but many people are taking alternative routes. But again, if you come to Bellegrave and Jurupa, you're going to be stopped. They have this shut down and completely surrounded as they try to assess the situation and the danger that this suspect may pose to the community, because again, it is a very populated area. There is a park just across the way, neighborhoods on both ways, and we are seeing people that are going around it. Some neighborhoods neighbors don't exactly know what's going on. They're standing outside their houses, kind of taking a look around, seeing all the helicopters in the air and the police presence. As you can see, the SWAT members are in that Bearcat. You could see at least one of them in the vehicle from my position here. We don't really see any movement in the vehicle because we are just too far away. But this is the situation you can see here. A lot of road closures, helicopters monitoring. We thought at one point we could hear some voice maybe commanding the suspect, but I cannot be certain because it's so hard to hear with all the helicopters in the air. But we can definitely see the Riverside County Sheriff helicopter circling the area, obviously keeping a very close eye from above with their with whatever system they have in place to see closer into that vehicle. That's our view from this area right now. Giovanna, Philip?
All right, Leticia, thank you. And I wonder, we see this car onto someone's property. I wonder if those people have been evacuated and if those law enforcement patrol cars that we're seeing on the other side of this home are actually going door to door and perhaps talking to people.
Well, they were basically right by that fence when the car went through the fence. We saw them in the video running away as the car went in there. But Letty, if you're still there, I'm curious. You've been on scene for a lot of these types of standoffs and events like this. Have you ever seen a deployment of this size this quickly for something like this? It's almost as if they were cautious of this person, that they know who this is and the danger that this person poses, because there are a lot of people surrounding this person. It's almost like they wanted this person very quickly. Okay, I'm sorry. Letty has moved on and is talking with the photographer, so she's moving along. But Chris Christie and I, that's one of the things Chris and I were talking about, and Giovanna was talking about the homeowner, and Chris saw that as well. So Chris, maybe you can talk about the homeowner that Giovanna was bringing up, because that person in the video, he was there. So we're kind of curious if they got him out of there as well already.
Right, and the bigger question is, are they evacuating the number of homes that are on the other side of this property where this pursuit suspect crashed into?
Yeah, well, most likely, if anything, they're going to ask everybody to shelter in place. That would be the most likely situation. What's curious to me is, at what point did this go from a California Highway Patrol pursuit into a Riverside County Sheriff's pursuit? On that, hold on. Enough time to gather this amount of resources.
Chris, I don't want to interrupt you on that one, but that's actually the other way around.
Yeah,
Riverside started. They asked for CHP to join them in the pursuit. So it was Riverside had started it, asked for CHP to join them, and then it returned to Riverside Sheriffs. So
returned to Riverside.
Yeah. So it was both agencies involved.
That makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense. And then, so the next question is, how did it begin, right? So let's go through the list of ways a pursuit like this could begin. Did it start off as like a misdemeanor, and then they realized who the guy is after they ran the plates? That's one possibility. Was there a crime in progress where they tracked this person down? That's another possibility. Or was this some kind of a larger undercover operation? Were they serving a search warrant and the suspect got away, or they managed to track him down that way? We don't know, but those would be some of the likely ways that you would have a pursuit like this start, where a known criminal, a violent criminal, who is behind the wheel of a pursuit vehicle, how they would initially find him and track him down and get into pursuit with a suspect like this. Also, if he did shoot at police, again, when did that happen? Did that happen today, or did that happen earlier or another day? Again, questions that I'm really curious about. We don't know the answers, but it would explain, those answers would explain some of what we're seeing here this afternoon, with this amount of law enforcement so prepared for a pursuit termination, ready to take this guy on, regardless of how it ended. Just nobody realizing that it would end quite like this. He really had good control of the vehicle, and again was engaged in this pursuit for over an hour with law enforcement before they finally used that grappler, which is when he lost control, swept over all of those oncoming lanes of traffic on Bellegrave Avenue, and then slammed right into that concrete wall.
Yeah, it's been some time since we've seen any movement coming from that vehicle. I am wondering if he is more injured than we initially expected, because there was some movement, we saw it, but now there really is nothing.
But I'm going to tell you, Giovanna, one of the things that when we were talking to Letty a moment ago, I am so glad what Letty was talking to her photographer about was moving, because she was in too much of a line of sight of that vehicle with no protection for her and her photographer. So they picked up and moved a little bit. And to your point, while we don't know necessarily, he is probably in the back seat, and we can't see. And so it's a bit scary. I'm going to tell you, I was a little scared for Letty where she was standing, because she could look directly at that back seat. And so the deputies are very much closer, but they're behind the SWAT vehicles, and so they're protected. Letty wasn't, and so I'm glad she moved. But that you can't see in that back seat. So even if he's injured, if he's this much of a serious bad actor, I don't know what he's got in the back seat, and so you don't want to be line of sight of this person. And that's also, we were talking about that intersection when they didn't block off the whole intersection. You don't want to be in front of him, because the car is a weapon in and of itself. So they did leave it open, and he just sat there. And we kind of went to weather. And while we were in weather, he just kind of started his slow roll forward, and then he just took off. And that's when they tried the grappler. But yeah, it's been an interesting last hour or so watching this guy, and he's potentially still dangerous.
And going back to the grappler, I have not ever seen them.
I haven't seen it live.
Enforcement, yes,
that's for sure.
Use a grappler like this. You haven't seen it, and you said you were talking to Chris about it earlier. Had Chris seen this before? Chris, if you're still on.
I have not seen it anywhere caught on video like that from the air. That perspective is a very, very unique angle that I have never seen before in any state where law enforcement has the grappler and actually used it with the helicopter overhead. You were really able to get a good glimpse of how it works and what their tactic was. He was going right for that left rear wheel. I think the front of that grappler is wide enough for probably both sets of rear wheels to get caught up in the almost like a net system that essentially is activated, and then gets the axle all tangled up, and then eventually it locks up the tire, and it's got some distance to it, so the vehicle can end up, probably within 30 feet of that primary officer. But again, this is a situation where if the suspect was so dangerous, and they were taking this, treating this so gingerly back at the intersection of Bellegrave and Etiwanda, to use that tactic is very, very peculiar. You would never see them, at least in LA County, you would never see them even attempt a pit maneuver on a suspect who is known to even have a gun. So it just kind of shows you the difference in policies from municipality to municipality, county by county. It really does differ quite a bit.
Okay, Chris, thank you. We need to have you stand by. We're going to pause our streaming coverage right now and get ready for an ABC7 cut-in.
Okay, Tony. So standoff, barricade. Let me get the chat up here. I mean, is the person even alive? ABC7 ended, but they had a better angle. Yeah, let me see. I don't know if there's any other choppers or any other news networks there. Let me hit my Cali button. Open everything up. Maybe anybody else out there. No, let's see.
Enjoy your new.
Oh no! Please no. Looks like it might be just Fox. Let me see. Yeah, I think it might be just Fox out there, pimping. Fox is the last one left. What's up? What's up? How long have they been live? Oh, okay, about an hour. I have possible time. Possibility. Yeah, I mean, are they even alive? Are they conscious? Look how hard that thing hit. Now I don't understand why not just tear gas the shit. Robot? They gonna send a robot? Oh. Yeah, they got a robot. They're gonna send a bomb thing in there? Oh no. Mm-mm. Mm. What a mess. This isn't live. It is live. It's live right now. Damn. Wonder how long like this person has been there crashed into the wall because about an hour or so ago. I mean, I don't know. You don't see movement. The thing is too, I mean, I don't know what the one is. Is the person armed? Because a lot of times too, you see them pull the Bearcat right up to the window. You kind of peep inside, or you sometimes see the guys come with like that long stick, and they'll break the back of the window, the sides of the window to get a look inside. I mean, have they had any communication? Team Seal 6, right? Seal 6 is on the way. How many people do you need for this guy? An earlier clip on ABC, they said they saw the person inside moving. Wow. Mm-mm. I mean, so they repositioned one of the Bearcats. They have this robot thing all the way back here. I don't know if the guy has a bomb. Tom Clancy 6, Rainbow 6, Metal Gear Solid. I don't know what's going on. Look, it's like there's a whole. They got the K9. Like the guy has a bomb or something. Allah! That is crazy. Failed grappler attempt. And what's going on over here now? Across the street or block over? Okay, you got media, I guess, setting up. The person doesn't want to be taken alive, I guess, or will not take me. Wow. Incredible. I mean, I guess somebody said they saw moves. ABC said they saw movement in there. Riverside County. SWAT surrounded suspect wanted for he was wanted for shooting at deputies. Okay. So armed and dangerous, I guess. Armed and dangerous. This stemmed from a failed grappler attempt by RSO. I mean, so it's new technology for Cali. Maybe the guys are still training, and it didn't work out. And earlier today, a suspect was dead. So earlier today, they said a suspect dead, another person injured after I-5 chase ends in gunfire exchange with police. So the guy earlier today, the chase earlier, dude was crazy too and started shooting at the cops. And he got killed. Dang. Okay. You can't park there. They're coming from the other side, it looks like. I'm not sure what the plan is here. They got the K9 coming from the other side of the house, the other side of the building. I wonder what the strategy is here. I guess they're getting on the other side of the wall, I guess. What is that, a well, a porta potty? A homemade porta potty? Mm-hmm. You see the new gas coming May 1st. E15. Don't use it. Really? You gas? What is that? Yeah, they have the whole block. Look at that. The whole block cut off. Today's been like a crazy violent day out there in LA. Damn. That's crazy. I guess because this guy's a danger and he shot at cops and stuff, I guess they have to play it super safe. I mean, they really brought out the works, though. The works. Robot, AI technology, the dogs, fully armed, military. The new gas has more ethanol and is bad for engines. Oh, they're pulling up. They're pulling up. Okay, I guess they're kind of a little tough. Oh, I didn't realize that was like a wall. It's like a wall, like vertical wall going up there. Hard for them to even get there. I guess they're trying to squeeze in. This car really did a number, crashing into the wall, busting through. And so that's what I was saying earlier. Like sometimes you'll see them kind of pull up right next to the vehicle and kind of peep inside. I guess because of the wall, maybe it's a problem, I guess. And he got a turret and stuff. I just start blasting the thing. Automatic turret. All right. Was doing something I had to do. Okay. So yeah, this is like a serious, big situation. You know, multiple vehicles, police, SWAT, 2 Bearcats, it looks like, robot, the iRobot, Johnny Fife. This person apparently was shooting at cops prior. Okay, they were shooting at cops previously, so I guess they're on high alert. I think, like I said, I think with a lot of these people, man, you just got to make them uncomfortable. Break the back of the glass, put some tear gas in there, load that shit up with tear gas, and watch how quick they come running out. But I don't know if those doors, the front doors, will even open. There's no sound, by the way, if you're wondering. I don't know if they're giving verbal commands. Get out, or is it just, did they call mama? Sometimes they call mom or the father. They call mom and dad. Pup scan has risen to post about this. Pup scan. Failed grappler deployment. Oh, man. I mean, the grappler technology is dope. It is a dope technology. It's really cool. I've seen it bring chases to an end, like nothing. But I like the ones that shoot out. There's ones you got to get close and then it shoots, I think. I thought that's the one I'm thinking of. This one, I guess you have to get right on to the car and like scoop it up.
Your factor when you're trying to grapple a vehicle traveling,
I think the guy freaked out too. That guy might have not really realized that first. I'm not sure.
When you're trying to grab,
and the cop, he was unaligned though. When he first pulled up and he was unaligned. He was off, I think. And maybe he wasn't. Maybe that's how you do it. It tried to grab, but it didn't. It's like you're at the vending machine and you're trying to get some crap and they're ripping you off and you're, trying to grab the toys and stuff. I think you yoked the wheel and flipped out.
In excess
oh
of
shit!
Speed. Now what
crashed into the wall. And the thing is too, is like they didn't even try to correct themselves. Once that grappler thing happened, and supposedly they were already spike stripped. So some people were questioning why didn't they just let the spike strip do what it does? But this person, let me see. Did they turn the wheel or the car just can't even tell? The car just lost control. They didn't even try to correct this shit. They just rode straight into hell.
of a safe speed. Now,
they didn't even try to correct this shit. If it's me, I'm going to at least try to correct it. You could tell somebody's trying to correct it. They didn't even try. They just rode straight into hell. Right off a cliff. Holy moly. Crazy. So Cali's finally taking on the grapplers, which I think is cool, but I guess they're all going to have to train and practice and all that stuff. I like the one that shoots. That just grabs the car, man. They're not going anywhere. You had a bottle of booze in the right hand? And you got to think maybe they're on extra alert too because of the first chase today where somebody started shooting at the cops and they got killed. This person apparently shot at the cops too. Okay. Wild. Maybe I should do it's kind of so it's odd to me too sometimes when I'll sometimes post some shit and I'll never think about it again. And then some people start arguing with each other on X. And like days later, I just see people still arguing with each other. I'm like, what the hell is going on over here? There's two fights in two different tweets. People fighting each other. I guess better than fighting me, I guess. Let's see if I can, I think I'm going to run pages again, see if we got any other media. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. To do that one. There we go. Yeah, I can show. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I show some other grapplers in action. I mean, I'm just doing a quick scan to see if the news stations. Nothing KTLA. Oh, they have a on ground.
The Cadillac vehicle. Able to get on this kind of dirt hillside near this home, but other vehicles approaching. And it also appears that this is Riverside County. This doesn't appear to be California Highway Patrol. So they may not have been on the highway. They may have been on some more rural roads in this Jurupa Valley area versus highway. Usually it's CHP that takes the lead when that's the case. Instead, it's looks like it's Riverside County there very much in charge. Again, line picture high up top, the sheriff, tactical gear on right now, the helmet, the body camera, the obviously body gear, the armor for this to make sure they're safe. So we also see a canister they could be tossing in.
I have NBC too. NBC's live right now too, so we might take a look at
this suspect. They're wearing potentially gas masks to have these people watching and waiting. So we're hopefully going to have our Fox 11 team dive into the latest with this as they approach their 5 p.m. newscast, as they have eyes on this. And just based on the fact that there is a camera on the scene, they are fully aware of what's going on, fully conscious of just how big this is, how dire this situation, this moment is right now. Not exactly sure how long they were following this pursuit, how long Riverside County was involved or engaged with this individual that ultimately led right here to the side of this wall in the Jurupa Valley area. But the sheriff leaning out of this barricade, the second one that has such arrived, kind of cozying up next to this Cadillac for the time being. So they might try to break the window, toss in this gas canister, and approach the vehicle. That could be the strategy for the time being. We do see about 5 to 10 other SWAT officers on the right side of your screen that could be approaching from the passenger side. So we talked to different law enforcement officers and officials about some of the strategy involved in the culmination of this, but they are using weapons. They have weapons ready at the ready in case this one, in all worst case scenario, potentially goes haywire. You don't hope that happens. You hope this ends safely and peacefully with someone behind their hands behind their back. So we're just going to watch this here on Live Now from Fox, and it was the end of a police pursuit from just over an hour ago.
in a little bit to in a minute, I'm going to show you guys some grappler action, previous how it works. So we have live now from Fox, which is kind of using the same feed as Fox, I guess, but I also have an NBC feed. Let me see if they're showing something different too.
This all started with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. They were in pursuit of that suspect because he's a parolee at large and the vehicle was stolen. Now the chase made its way through surface streets here in the Mira Loma area as well as the freeway until the suspect came to a stop outside of Jurupa Valley High School. He sat there for a good 15 minutes before he decided to take off again westbound on Bellegrave Avenue, and that is when the Riverside County Sheriff's Department tried that new pursuit intervention tactic called the grappler, but unfortunately it did not work as intended, and the suspect lost control and crashed into that cinder block wall for a home off of Antigua Drive. Now at this point it is unclear if the driver is even conscious or if he's simply refusing to come out, but the Riverside County Sheriff's Department can take no chances, and they're being very careful about how and when they approach that suspect to try to take him into custody. In the meantime, Bellegrave Avenue is shut down between Etiwanda and Wineville. That's latest here from Jurupa Valley in News Chopper 4. I'm Eliana Marino. Back to you in the studio.
Oh, she got off. Okay, they just did a hit.
If you've ever broken
Earlier.
Potentially 40, 50 miles an hour. So that is very dangerous in and of itself. But that's what happened. That's why we are here in this moment in Jurupa. You can see there Bellegrave and Graphite Creek Road, if you're familiar in the Riverside area. But that was the scene. This again back out live to this standoff that continues on for some time. Almost 5 o'clock local time, 8 o'clock on the East Coast. We're going to wait and see how this wraps up, if they're able to strategically get around it to apprehend an individual or individuals inside this Cadillac for the time being.
What are they getting out of the back? Oh, sorry. Just checking.
All right, just looking in there, you can see them with the kind of shield trying to get around. I'm not sure where they are going because they are boxed in pretty close in tight quarters on the left-hand portion of your screen versus the right-hand. The passenger side window, very aware, very apparent and wide open almost, not necessarily in terms of it being rolled down, but being there are no other Bearcats there next to this vehicle right now. So we'll see what happens. Our Skyfox team high above. This is the vantage point, courtesy of Skyfox. This one from the ground now. They've zoomed in from quite a distance. They've clearly blocked off the road in both directions, and rightly so. Looks like this was a garage of some kind, someone's residential area near a farm or some location with some acreage on it, but they could be approaching soon. They're just watching and waiting.
Yeah, they're right up next to
unfold. Our Fox 11 team could be going into their broadcast, their 5 p.m. news here in just a moment, and hopefully they'll be able to give some sort of look, some sort of context to what they were watching earlier on today as they were dictating some of this pursuit, where this exactly is, who's the lead agency, what the genesis, what the motivation behind this individual that ultimately led to this pursuit taking place. So hopefully at about 5 o'clock, we'll dive into their coverage to give us some information. It's been a busy day in Southern California, though. Other different trial cases, the sentencing for an individual in the death of Matthew Perry. So Los Angeles always very busy covering some of the top stories. So they do have a camera on the ground. They did dive into this pursuit in full as it was transpiring. They potentially could be looking at it as it happens at the top of their 5 p.m. newscast about what's going on in Bellegrave Road there near Graphite Road. So that's the intersection in the Jurupa Valley, Riverside County area. A pair of Bearcats behind this police chase suspect. The standoff continues for the better part of now more, surpassing an hour at this Cadillac CTE there, this vehicle, into this wall near a garage, near a residential area. Riverside County agency, sheriff taking the lead, California Highway Patrol not on hand. So they are working some strategy out to how they approach this vehicle, but watching and waiting for the time being. You can see there someone standing at ready with a shield right in the immediate back of this vehicle. They could be approaching in that way as they send this gas canister. So watching, waiting for their perfect...
Oh, shit.
Breaking news out of Jurupa Valley. This is the video right here of a pursuit that came to a crashing end right coming up there. Sheriff's deputies were chasing a suspect. They tried.
Damn, what happened? Let me show you a snippet of some other grappler stuff. Grappler incidents, chases, I guess.
Years.
Look at this guy. The thing deploys. There's like a little net.
90 minutes later, deputies have not tried to reach the driver yet. Skyfox Live over the area of Bellegrave Avenue and Avenida del Ranchos.
Oh, they switched. Okay, they're giving the commentary there. Let me just show you. Oh, maybe that's what was supposed to happen there. Like the tire was supposed to like lock or something. This one has like a little net. I've seen the yellow thing. This one, I guess it's supposed to grab. I don't think the California one did that. Grabbed or whatever it's supposed to do. And then there's that one too where it wraps around the tire. Looks like it wraps around the tire. I thought it grabs like the axle or something. No, ain't none of that stuff happened with the Cali one. Oh, they're smoking it up. They're smoking it up now. Smoke it up. Smoke it up.
Luckily for the people who live there or who were in that yard.
They're smoking it up right now, it looks like.
In the yard, who went running, and a dog too. So luckily for the people who live there or who were in that yard, it appears nobody hurt there, but that wall, look at the damage there to that wall and to that car. Now, what's happening there on the ground, we are not sure because it's been a standoff for a while with those Bearcats, very intimidating. We can't tell from the shot that we're bringing you whether there's, say, an ambulance nearby or medical personnel, because right now, you can imagine with law enforcement, they're not letting anybody get close. This is our ground shot right here, our photographer right there on the scene.
Look at the drone.
Look at the damage, look at the vehicle.
Yeah.
Can't tell if there's any communication with law enforcement, if there's any movement in the car, if there's any passenger.
Illegal tints.
So, okay,
That's
wow, modern technology right there. You're watching it. That drone getting a very close look there, something the deputies can't do without putting their lives at risk, their safety at risk. We don't know if there's been any movement in that car. If law enforcement feels that they can communicate with this person or not. They probably want to make sure everybody's going to be safe when they do have to approach that car. Look at it. It landed right there on the vehicle. Modern technology right there.
Just showing off.
And again, you have those deputies in those Bearcats, highly equipped there. Their weapons are drawn. So obviously, there is a concern there about this driver, why this driver wouldn't stop. Now, it was a long pursuit in that we were watching it as a standoff earlier at, I don't know if it was a street sign or street light, but the car had stopped. Law enforcement, they were out of their vehicles, guns drawn, and then the car takes.
What is that thing doing? It looked like it was like, is it tearing out the glass or something, or trying to get inside? It was like an advanced. I want that. That's what I want. I want something like that that can crawl and walk around and kind of dig through and fly and land and stuff. I want something like that.
Shattered glass. How much of that view is obstructed? I'm guessing the airbags probably went off in a situation like that. You have all of that damage. Again, the one thing we don't know is the why. Why was law enforcement chasing this vehicle here? So we're looking at it from the air. Skyfox right there. Again, our crews are there on the ground. Okay, is that deputy?
Well, launch one in, maybe. It's about time.
Anyway, communication there between some officers right there.
I would have did this shit 2 hours ago. Launched up in there.
Sometimes they will use certain tools to try to get this standoff to come to an end, whether they shoot out the window with non-lethal weapons. They'll shoot the glass out. They'll send in smoke bombs, so to speak. I'm wondering if they're trying to ready something like that, a projectile of some sort. Perhaps that indicates to them the person is moving and can get out of the vehicle on that passenger side for sure. Obviously not the driver's side, it's blocked in. But it looks to me that if they're going to fire something into that car, like a smoke grenade kind of thing, to smoke that driver out, then they must feel that there's some movement there, that that person is capable of moving. We just don't know. Obviously, deputies keeping their distance. Time is on their side. They don't have to make a move unless they feel that they're ready. Again, look at the wall there. I'm guessing that's a home. Maybe it's a business, not sure. But somebody was in that yard with their dog, and they went running when this crash was happening. So thank goodness nobody there on the ground was hit or hurt. Notice, though, that deputy does not have his weapon drawn anymore. So I don't know if that means that they have added information, that things are more safe for them, that they can stand down, so to speak, with their weapons. You're looking at a ground shot from our crews who were right there in Jurupa Valley watching all of this. You know, not sure again if there's just one person in that vehicle, but we've seen absolutely zero movement. We've been watching this since about 3:20, give or take. It's now 5:05. All right.
They changed the screen. Okay, but we still got this. Oh, they busted the back. They busted the back. They put it inside. Oh shit! They were putting this thing inside now. Oh, they busting it up. Bust it up, baby.
They probably want movement one person.
Oh, yeah, they're breaking this thing up. Okay, let's get inside. Oh, okay, they busting out. Somebody has a bunch of junk in there. What is that? They block in the back? Jacket or something? Were they, I guess maybe they were on. You know, the hazard lights weren't on before. It looks like they're on now. I'm kind of noticing. I wanted to make sure I wasn't tripping. I rewinded the video back. It wasn't on before, but the hazard lights are on now. Did the person inside of the vehicle turn on the hazard lights? Or was it the alarm going off because they broke the window? I rewinded it. I didn't see it back on before. I'm looking at video from before. It's not on. No, they haven't. I'm telling you. Okay, you're right. Never mind. Never mind. All right, you're right. It's killing me. All right, you're right. You got it. I was wrong. So they tore the back window. Usually now they go ahead and put the tear gas in there, shoot it in. I don't know what the holdup is. Unless the person inside is like blocked. There you go. Now they're gonna shoot it inside. They got ground feed. Okay, nice. Get a little bit of audio. What am I doing? Yeah, we got some ground feed. At least we can have some audio. That's good. Thanks, Taylor. Nice find with the feed. I mean, I've seen stuff where the person's been dead for hours and there's like this hours-long standoff. I don't know if this person's alive or dead, but maybe they have reason to believe they're alive.
Riverside, Jurupa Valley, where we have a standoff on the theater.
Yo, that's on the theater?
Check it out.
On the theater's there? On the theater!
I think that maybe there is some movement with the driver, that they're watching the driver's actions. If they're going to shoot something else into the vehicle, they can see the driver reacting. But if you're thinking the driver is capable of getting out of the vehicle, then that's something they're going to watch for. A lot of deputies there on the scene. A reminder, this was a failure to yield in Jurupa Valley. And right now, a lengthy standoff with a lot of manpower, a lot of equipment, a lot of tax dollar expense there. And again, this appears to be a home that wall crashed into. And I'm thinking when it happened, thank God there was nobody walking down the street, or that no pedestrian was hit, or no other motorist, because that car crossed the other lanes in the opposite direction. Crossing, cars would be oncoming to the car that crashed into the wall.
Ellen said they put a camera on the back.
Or at that time, because just moments before, there were vehicles passing by.
I don't want to.
So as we're watching here, it looks like deputies are preparing to take some other kind of action here to bring this to a close. They've got a lot of daylight still, so time is still on their side. Light is going to be, visibility is going to be very good for probably at least 2 hours, give or take. Not sure when sundown is anymore right now, but it's well after 5. So again, that's another tool right there that they were using to bust the glass there, which gives them greater visibility. Okay, they're getting out the mask there for their perhaps own protection. If they're going to shoot some kind of projectile, that would be an irritant to the eyes, to the nose, a pepper spray of some sort. An irritant that would, if you're trapped in that vehicle or you're sitting in that vehicle, you would want to get out of that.
So, I guess the news has a bigger delay, because on the TikTok feed, you can see the guy kind of lowering or getting ready to, I don't know, to put the canister, I guess. We did this shit 2 hours ago. We put in a gas canister and everything. This shit would have been lit up with smoke and everything everywhere. We would have came out running. Okay, they're gonna put it in. Is that being pushed out? Whoa, what the hell is that? There's movement inside. Is that his hands? The person inside, I think, is trying to block the window. Is that what's going on? So they're alive. Stubborn. Alive and stubborn. The traumatic crash wasn't enough. They could have been killed. Some people, life and death doesn't change them. Other people, they have a life-changing, Other people, it's nothing. It's like another day. They're smoking it up. smoking it up. Smoke it up, baby. Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I would have did that shit 10 minutes into it. Because I'm a really impatient person. The channel's not behind, Dave. Dave is talking about the channel behind. I said you're a dumbass as the cops. You calling people a dumbass when you have no idea how online and streaming works and delays. The news network has their own delay. Okay. They have a set time. I don't know what their time is. Me, when I'm streaming, there's a delay. There's a 28-second delay. And TikTok has less of a delay. That's why we're seeing multiple things at the same time. Calm down. All right? Calm down, Karen. Put Karen in the chat. Then we could have like an explosive crashing into the wall, smoke and bombs. Oh, man, you think it's a delay. Got it. Lit up, smoke. Smoke everywhere, smoke box. There's no way this guy, at some point, this person's gonna have to get out of there running. Unless they're stuck inside. If they can't open those doors. Oh, she did already. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I would say about this is if those doors can't open, he could be trapped in there. But, I mean, he was moving stuff to the back window, trying to block it. I mean, I would think the person would try to crawl out the back. Well, I think that's what it is, Julianne. Julianne said news has to delay now. Years ago, they caught a guy at 86 himself on a chopper camera. Really? I think the news sets like a extra delay, not beyond what's there. They set an extra delay. And so it's like we're watching when you're watching me, you're kind of watching the news delay, then you're watching my delay on top of that. TikTok probably has way less of a delay. I could have less of a delay, but then I wouldn't have closed captions. I had a little bit of extra delay for the closed captions. I could go low latency, but I wouldn't have closed captions. The quality wouldn't be as good. But yeah, people do all kinds of stuff online, on stream, on TV, and so these people have to be able to, if somebody kills himself. I've still seen a lot of crazy stuff on TV, even with the delay. We've seen bodies and all kinds of stuff. Somebody earlier today was killed by the cops. Was that on live stream, Layla? The shooting earlier today with the first chase, and the guy was shot and killed. Was that on live stream? And what happened? They blacked out the screen. Maybe something happened. Huh. They came back. I mean, you gotta have some strong resilience, I guess, if you're in there and not choking up and your eyes aren't burning, nose and tears running, and you're just breathing like normal. Maybe he covered his face. Okay, thanks, Paul. That sounds about right. Paul said 26 seconds behind Fox. Dark tints too. Gotta be illegal tints. Well, I'm surprised. Well, let me see the
veering left turn and right into the wall. Not really sure what was going on there. Possibly that grapple got a hold of that left rear wheel and locked it up, but strap did not grab onto. You watch the video here as he comes up. He attempts one try, backs off, and then as it comes up to it on the second try, it looks like what happens here is a little contact. You see the smoke come off that left rear tire. Possibly a part of that grappling net got a hold of that left rear tire, locked it up, because you see a skid mark. If you watch here, you'll see a skid mark come off of it. And as normally these tires on these new cars, or brakes on these new cars, will not lock up because of the ABS. So as it comes in, you see the smoke, you see a little bit of a skid mark, and then boom, right on into the fence. So they're going to have to check into that to see exactly how and what happened with the grappling system. I am not really familiar with them. Their new technology coming into play with law enforcement trying to do their best to stop these pursuits in the least, damaging way, to where the grappling is designed to go in and wrap around the wheels,
Just
and then as the unit backs off, a strap comes out and it basically tethers the car to the front of the police car. And then the police car just slows down and springs the car to a stop. But in this case, that didn't work, and unknown what happened there would cause that left rear tire to skid a little bit, but definitely took it off in a left-hand arc into that fence. But that'll all be worked out in the investigation after this is completed. But right now, we have SWAT officers who have been called to the scene, and they're going to do their thing. I'll tell you one thing about working with SWAT. They are not fast at anything. Everything they do is at a snail's pace. As long as there's not an active shooter, if there's nothing active going on with victims involved, they're going to take their time and make sure they do it slowly and methodically to be able to get this person out, because there's no rush. The time is on their side. The car's not going anywhere. Suspect's not going to go anywhere. So it's just a matter of this suspect giving up and getting out of the car to end this thing.
Well, it is quite the visual there. We appreciate what insight you do have on the grappler there, because I remember we did a story when it was first discussed years ago, and people were thinking about how can we have these pursuits end where there is nobody getting hurt. There's so many pursuits that you're like, what can we do? We did a story not too long ago showing them in action, and then now we have this here. Let's just talk about the video here, where they first use some of their other tools earlier to try to break that window, to then insert that tear gas into the vehicle. So talk about just the tools that they have without putting their persons, their body in danger.
Right. They'll use all kinds. The most inventive people at the police department are the SWAT officers, because there's officers that are in the SWAT teams that come up with all kinds of things, and they're all across the country coming up with a new idea on how to deliver. I mean, back in my day, you would use a pike pole from the fire department, and you'd duct tape a canister on it. Looks like I've got movement here in the car. You saw something there.
Yeah,
see?
that's video from earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, video from earlier. That was the first movement, Tim, that we saw at all. First at all.
Okay, so I see the live up in the left-hand corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously that drone operator has seen this person moving around. So anyway, they back in my day, you just duct tape a canister on the end of a pipe pole and jam it through the window. Now they've come up with these fancy extending poles with all the controls on it, where they can put it in the car where they need to put it in, and then other things that they come up with to be able to protect the SWAT officer from having to expose himself getting up to this car. So every day is an evolution of technology, and
Nojo, thank
somebody
you.
will try something new that works.
Nojo, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for the 10. My favorite YouTube fave on breaking shit. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Yeah, this dude was moving. The person is alive apparently. They showed video of the person. I don't know what they were doing. I guess trying to block the back of the window that was being broken into. Stubborn. Now you would think like the crash, flying through a concrete wall, would maybe wake somebody up. Oh my God! Like I could have died. Like a normal person, rational person, probably I could have died. Thank God I'm alive. You know, maybe I should change my life. No, some people you could fly through a fucking wall. You could kill somebody accidentally. You wouldn't even think. Oh, some people just, let me change my life. This person, I guess maybe it's mental health. Barricaded inside after a police chase and shooting at the cops. I'm not sure why they keep showing old video. Who wants to see the old video? Unless it's a replay of the crash, but why keep showing this? And the smoke was gone pretty quick. I mean, it looked like it filled up the car, but I guess the person's unfazed. I guess the person inside is unfazed from the tear gas. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. Oh. I had to try to check that person's history. See what you're up to. What mischievous deeds have you been up to in the chat? Beaver. We're here all day, all night.
Hours now, and it was quite the wild ending with the use of that grappler and the car spinning off into a wall where there was a person in the yard and a dog. They went running, but the driver has not exited that vehicle. So, Tim Lynn, as we bring you back in, we remind our viewers that they are watching the live shot on the top screen, which is now the full screen. That is our ground crew, our photographer, Joab Perez, right there on the ground, bringing us that live shot right there. We are hearing that they put the pole back into the car I don't know if they're indicating to the driver, hey, another round is coming, because you mentioned, Tim, that they'll do more than one round of the tear gas. But what does that tell you about a suspect who's apparently not showing any sign of exiting the vehicle after round number 1 of tear gas? What is that? Any insight?
It's not your normal everyday 8 to 5 person who goes to work, comes home, eats dinner, then heads off to work the next day. It's somebody who is really determined to hold in there because, like I explained earlier, having gone through tear gas training, it is not a fun experience to be exposed to that. And for this person to be able to sit in there and get the first dose come in and load up the car. And as I explained, it doesn't go away just because the smoke disappears. There's still that powder in there. So he's continually being dosed. Every time he moves around, or he or she moves around inside that car, is getting dosed.
I'm going to pan around for you fools. Hi, you guys. Shout out to Lone Wolf. He has a TikTok live right now, and so shout out to all these fools here on the Tira. I don't know if you fools can even understand what's going on here, but we have a very, very serious standoff situation on the tier right along Bellegrave and Avenue de los Ranchos here, Holmes, where they grappled this fool right into this wall here. Our zooming in capabilities at absolute top maximum capacity level, and you can see that the Bearcat, the K9s, the heavy artillery, the drones, everybody is here on the tier where there was signs of movement initially. We don't know if there are any more, but we do know that, in fact, they flashbanged this fool, broke his windows, smoked them out, and not in a good way. And you can see there, in fact, that it has been quite the standoff here, right along Bellegrave and Avenue de los Ranchos in what is Moreno Valley.
Thank you, Ange. Appreciate that.
Here, shout out to Lone Wolf. He didn't lose control. They grappled him, and that's what happened.
Thanks, man. Are you staying here?
Yeah, I'm going to go on that side.
All right, cool.
I get anxiety around here.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. Me too.
Not pulling over and stopping. What have they done? You know, are they? The one the other night was reported attempt murder suspect, but you're not really sure what's in the car or what the motive is of that person, why they're not stopping. And you know, this car was going at a pretty good rate of speed, but not in a crazy way, but just trying to get away. And what caused the crash, you know, it was the attempted use of that grappler, causing that left rear wheel look like to lock up a little bit. But right now, everything is slowed down and just moving through and trying to get this person to give up safely.
Tim?
And it's all up to them.
Yeah. I want to bring you up to speed here on this video from earlier around 3:30 this afternoon. This is more when we picked up this pursuit in Jurupa Valley. Look at all of those deputies there out of their vehicles for a standoff at a stop sign. This is where the driver initially stopped. Could have exited the vehicle right there, could have brought this to an end. We were all waiting, watching as the deputies were all out of their vehicles to see what happened. And, you know, the driver just eventually would take off. We'll keep a watch on this video right now to see how this played out this afternoon. So Tim, as you're looking at all the deputies, a lot of them, they're ready for this driver to exit the vehicle. Again, we're saying failure to yield, but that's a lot of law enforcement right there.
Yeah. Any pursuit will attract a lot of officers, and especially what I see right there, there must have been more to this than a failure to yield. This is a very large response by these officers. You have the long guns out, as well as another armored officers back behind the area, and he stopped at this point, and now was trying to make the person's going through this thing in his mind, trying to figure out, do I give up? Do I not give up? You know, delaying the inevitable and now slowly moving away. And now it's just slowly moving away, trying not to draw fire from anybody or just, see what I can do. And, before just jamming the gas on and going. But right now, it looks more like a delaying technique that we've watched people do over and over again, where they stop multiple times during pursuit, taunt the officers, do whatever, and then take off. Well, this one here took off from that stop, and what happened prior to that, we don't know. We don't know how long it went.
Let's watch the grappler move in there. Yeah, Tim, let's watch the grappler move in. Again, as we talked about, newer technology. They make one attempt right there. Doesn't grab onto the car like it's supposed to. They're going to make another attempt, and it should just slowly bring that car to an end, but as you mentioned, spins off into that home right there with that crash. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, that netting that's on the front of that police unit, it's straps that are built up into a net, and they're supposed to grab or get onto the rear wheel, one side or the other, get on the rear wheel, wrap around that rear wheel, and lock it up. And at the same time, as the unit backs away, it's supposed to send out, it's staying tethered to the police unit as it pulls away, so where the police unit can slow down and basically pull on the leash and slow the car down so it doesn't do something like this. But here's an indication how quickly that SWAT unit got there. That gives me the idea that this thing has gone on way before media showed up, and was already in progress to get those folks activated and on scene that quickly. So they were already dispatched en route and probably on scene at the initial stop that we watched earlier, because they were there very quickly. Because it's not like the movies where they drive around in that truck trying to wait for something to happen. They deploy after being called out. So there's more to this right now, and just by the action of these officers right now tells me that this suspect is probably pretty violent.
All right, Tim Lynn, our police specialist, stand by. We're going to step away to bring people some other news today and come back to this if there are more developments. We thank you for your expertise. Another big story today here we want to bring you, the so-called ketamine queen.
Get her out of the news desk. Oh, ketamine queen? The ketamine queen. Let me check their YouTube page. Sometimes their YouTube page sometimes just has the raw feed. Oh, look, they're pushing in. Look at that. They're pushing in. And they cut off. This lady's horrible. They cut off right when they're moving in. Let's see what's happening. They pushed up to the vehicle. Thankfully, we have the TikTok. They pushed up to the vehicle with the shields. It's crazy. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to cut off. See you guys. The end. They approached and backed off. Let me open up all the feeds again, see if we have a new feed.
Or Placencia.
There's two live feeds. I have this one, or I have another one here. Maybe it's this other one. No, both of their live feeds. They changed. Might have been by mistake, but they cut the feed.
Simply say.
All right, in the meantime, then what we're going to do is, I think let's switch this to the middle. Ah! So we could find something else. ABC-7. I just checked ABC-7. They didn't have. They were live, but it wasn't at this. I'll check again.
Can you see better over here? Cool. Thanks, man.
Oh, they are. They are live. They pulling this guy out.
And not the front.
Oh, they're breaking the door in.
Good reason to believe he's back there. Possibly.
Oh, they're breaking the door in. Thank you for that.
He's about to get dragged
oh,
out.
they're pulling him out. Look at all that trash in there.
Condition he's in. Obviously, you can see a lot of blood. We're going to widen now just a little bit. Again,
Blood?
This was a person who was believed to be armed and dangerous. It's been a wild afternoon. He's already endured a major car crash, and we have seen tear gas basically fill up the entire car. So he's been inhaling a lot of chemicals, and it is very hot in there. So the exact condition of the suspect, we're going to find out here shortly, but you can see already quite a bit of blood as they start to pull that suspect out of the rear of the vehicle, guys.
Yeah, we pulled our camera back just in case. We don't want anybody to see something they shouldn't see, but you can see that this thing is winding to a close pretty quickly. Right now, there's some sort of an assessment on what to do. I think, Chris, more than likely, they have made physical contact with the suspect, and now they're moving him out.
They're either doing medical on him.
That's what we can presume from everything we're seeing here. It does look like they have they've pulled him out. He is out. A little difficult to see, but he is now out of the vehicle. The threat has been neutralized. The condition of this suspect, though, we just don't know. Hopefully we'll find out here in the next couple of minutes, but it does look like finally this neighborhood could rest a little bit easier after just a wild sequence of events here in the Jurupa Valley, guys.
All right, Chris, thank you for keeping an eye on it for us all afternoon. We are going to take a short break and keep an eye on this. We'll be right back.
What the?
ABC-7,
I can't tell if they're doing detaining or medical.
Oh, let's see.
So I can't tell if they're doing medical or detaining. You did.
Pulling him out or what? They're still breaking the window. Refusing to come out. Spoiled. Oh, I'm not coming out. No.
Sorry guys, I'm trying to run two cameras at once, so just bear with me. I got you all the best shot available. So.
It appears there may be more people in the vehicle. The way these deputies, they are now bringing in emergency personnel, quite possibly trying to tend to the wounded. You can hear sirens behind me on the data coming from the fire department.
Yeah. Come on. Oh.
All right, hold on, guys. I'm going to set you down again for a second.